the starter seems to be getting worse. I'm starting to worry that one of these times it's just not gonna fire up. Maybe this time. All right, we got going, and the main stop for the day was in Virginia. I was picking up 2 fryers from a guy named Randy who had developed a pretty cool product earlier in his life. It was called Hell's Forge, and it was a propane powered small forge. He built them, sold them. Sounded really cool, and I thought he had a really good price on them, but he said that they had been reverse engineered and they're being sold directly from China now, and he can't build them for what they're selling them for. So he is moving on, making changes, adapting, and trying to figure out what's next. He was a super nice guy. The other guy, Steve, who was working with him, was great as well. And I felt a little bit bad for him having to figure this out at the same age as my dad. He had a good attitude about it. He said that's the way of the world. And he and Steve were very helpful to get the pallet with the 2 fryers loaded into the van, which was an extremely tight fit. We ended up pushing that in because there just wasn't room to lift them. There was only about 1 inch of clearance below the top of the van. Finally, we got the pallet in, and I spent some time cleaning up, repacking the chairs, and making sure that everything was good and padded. My next stop down the road was at a rest area. All right, so yesterday I got a whole bunch of phone calls, and I was not taking phone calls yesterday because I was either driving. I got a lot for today as well. I was either driving, loading, or unloading, and same thing for the first part of today. So we're gonna start going through these phone calls. Oh my goodness. Check out just yesterday. There's Monday. Here's where yesterday starts. A couple of them are legitimate phone calls I actually wanted to take or related to a job. A bunch are about either personal or business debt from things that are not related to Send It Delivery Co. The fact that some are related to my truck, which was used under the name Jimmy Riggs LLC. I did purchase it in my personal name just because I didn't really know how or that I could purchase it under an LLC's name. So it's somewhat related to shipping, but that was my commercial shipping business, and it became impossible to do commercial shipping when my commercial insurance provider, which is required, commercial insurance is required by law in order to do commercial shipping. They didn't report documentation correctly. Whole other separate issue, not going to get into it in every single video, even though it does kind of set the stage for all the current videos. I made the decision to fast forward through all of this content, so there's no audio here. I am uploading the phone calls in a separate video if you're interested in hearing those phone calls. But I'm making this video at about midnight on day 6 in Miami. That's where I ended up heading after this. Basically at this time I just called everybody back and tried to get things squared away so that I wasn't using my business funds from my current business venture to pay for things that were outside of the scope of this business venture, because I simply feel that that is unfair and doesn't give a realistic idea of how successful the business is able to be on its own merits in the present. And I want to give my business a real chance at success, and I also want to be able to measure it realistically and objectively. After that, I headed down the road towards Florida, and that is a topic for the next videos.